The sky above Chicago was blue and clear on the morning everything changed. Emily Parker stood in her kitchen making coffee while her daughter played in the living room. Her husband was reading the news on his tablet. It was a normal Tuesday morning. Nobody knew it would be their last. 300 light years away, Emperor Varath sat on his ancient throne. He had ruled the Dominion for 3,000 years. His empire covered 300 star systems. Billions of beings served under his command. He was old, powerful, and he feared nothing. But his advisors had brought him troubling news. A small planet called Earth had developed space travel. These creatures called themselves humans. They were young and primitive, but they were growing fast. Too fast. They will become a threat, his war general said. In 100 years, maybe 200, they could challenge us. Emperor Varath did not like threats. He had destroyed many species before. One more would not matter. Burn their world, he commanded. Leave nothing alive. The Dominion war fleet jumped through space. 200 massive warships appeared above Earth without warning. Humanity had no idea they were coming. Their simple satellites detected strange objects, but by the time anyone understood what was happening, it was too late. David Cole was a captain stationed on the moon. He was eating lunch in the base cafeteria when the alarm started screaming. He ran to the observation deck and looked toward Earth. What he saw broke his heart. Bright flashes of light were appearing all across the planet. One after another, faster and faster. The Dominion ships were firing on every major city. New York, London, Tokyo, Beijing, Mumbai. One by one, the great cities of Earth were dying. David pressed his hands against the glass. His family was in Boston. His mother, his brother, his nephews. He watched helplessly as a bright flash appeared on the eastern coast of North America. Boston was gone. No, he whispered. No, no, no. Tears ran down his face. He could not look away. All around him, other soldiers were crying, screaming, falling to their knees. They were watching their world die, and they could do nothing to stop it. In Chicago, Emily Parker felt the ground shake. She grabbed her daughter and ran to the window. A massive ship hung in the sky like a dark cloud. It was bigger than anything she had ever seen. Lights were glowing along its belly. "Mommy, what is that?" her daughter asked. Emily did not have time to answer. The light hit the center of the city. A wave of fire and destruction spread outward like ripples in a pond. Emily had only seconds. She threw her daughter into the basement and covered her with her own body. The world turned white. Then black. When Emily woke up, she was buried under broken concrete and twisted metal. Her ears were ringing. She could not feel her legs. Slowly, painfully, she dug herself out of the rubble. She looked for her daughter. She looked for her husband. She found them both. They were not alive. Emily sat in the ashes of her home and screamed until her voice was gone. She screamed until she had no tears left. Then she sat in silence, staring at the burning sky. Something changed inside her that day. The woman she had been died with her family. Something colder and harder took her place. General Marcus Wright was deep underground when the attack happened. He was in a military bunker hidden in the Rocky Mountains. The bunker was built to survive a nuclear war. It survived the alien attack too. For 3 days, he gathered information. The reports that came in were worse than any nightmare. 2 billion people were dead. Every major city had been destroyed. Governments had collapsed. Military bases were burning. Ships and planes lay scattered like broken toys. But humanity was not extinct. Survivors were emerging from the rubble. Underground shelters had protected some. Rural areas had been spared the worst. The moon base was still intact. The small colonies on Mars were untouched. Humanity was wounded. Humanity was bleeding. But humanity was still alive. On the 4th day, General Wright made a broadcast. He sent it to every radio, every television, every device that still worked. His face appeared on screens across the broken planet and beyond. "My name is General Marcus Wright," he said. His voice was calm and steady. "I am taking command of all surviving military forces. To every human who can hear me, I have one message." He paused. His eyes were hard as stone. "They wanted to end us. They came to our home without warning. They killed our families. They burned our cities. They thought we would roll over and die." His hands curled into fists. "They were wrong. We are still here. We are bloody and broken, but we are still standing. And we are going to remember what they did. Every face, every name, every child who will never grow up, we will remember." General Wright leaned closer to the camera. "I do not know how long it will take. I do not know how many of us will survive. But I make this promise to every human alive and to the memory of every human who died. We will find the ones who did this. We will learn their names. We will travel across the stars if we have to." His voice dropped to a cold whisper. "And we will make them pay. Every single one of them. They started this war. We are going to finish it." The broadcast ended. Across Earth, across the moon, across Mars, humans watched in silence. Then, slowly, they began to move. They began to dig out the survivors. They began to bury the dead. They began to rebuild. Captain David Cole stood on the moon and watched the fires still burning on Earth. His family was gone. His home was gone. Everything he loved had been taken from him. He wiped the tears from his face and made a silent promise. He would find the ones who did this. He would hunt them across the galaxy. And he would not stop until every last one of them was dead. Emily Parker climbed out of the ruins of Chicago. She had nothing left. No family, no home, no reason to live. But she had something else now. She had hate. Pure, cold, endless hate. She looked up at the sky where the alien ships had been. They were gone now, probably celebrating their victory. They thought the job was done. They thought humanity was finished. They had made a terrible mistake. Emily started walking. She did not know where she was going. She only knew one thing. She was a physicist. She understood weapons. And she was going to use every bit of her knowledge to hurt the ones who had taken everything from her. The day the sky burned was the worst day in human history. But it was also the day humanity changed forever. No more fighting among themselves. No more petty wars and politics. There was only one enemy now, one purpose, one goal. They had struck Earth first, and now humanity was coming for them. 3 years had passed since the attack. The world had changed in ways nobody could have imagined. There were no more countries, no more borders, no more flags except one, the flag of the Terran Coalition, the united government of all humanity. Every leader who survived had agreed. They could not afford to fight each other anymore. Every bullet, every ship, every piece of metal had to serve one purpose. Revenge. Dr. Emily Parker walked through the underground research facility. It was built deep beneath the Arizona desert. Thousands of scientists worked here day and night. They were studying the pieces of alien technology that had been recovered from crashed Dominion probes. They were learning how the enemy worked. And they were building something better. Emily was no longer the woman who made coffee in her kitchen. Her hair had turned gray. Her eyes were cold and empty. She never smiled. She barely slept. Every moment of her life was dedicated to one goal. She wanted to hurt the Dominion the way they had hurt her. "Dr. Parker," a young scientist called out. "We found something." Emily walked over to his workstation. On the screen was a diagram of Dominion shield technology. They had spent months trying to understand how it worked. "There is a frequency gap," the scientist explained. "If we tune our weapons to this exact wavelength, we can pass right through their shields." Emily stared at the screen. A small spark appeared in her dead eyes. Are you certain? Yes, ma'am. We tested it on the shield generator we captured. Our new weapons cut through like it was not even there. Emily nodded slowly. Good. Scale up production immediately. I want every ship armed with these weapons within 6 months. The scientist hesitated. 6 months? That is impossible. We would need... I do not care what you need, Emily said. Her voice was flat and cold. Find a way. We have waited long enough. Far away, in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Admiral David Cole stood on the bridge of a massive warship. The ship was called the TSS Remembrance. It was the largest vessel humanity had ever built. And it was just one of 500. David looked out the window at the fleet around him. Row after row of warships hung in the darkness. Destroyers, cruisers, carriers, battleships. They were painted black to hide in the void of space. The Dominion had no idea they existed. Commander James Howard walked up beside him. James was young, only 32, but he was the smartest tactical mind humanity had. He had studied every second of footage from the attack on Earth. He knew exactly how the Dominion fought, and he had designed strategies to beat them. The final ship just finished construction, James reported. The Black Fleet is complete. David nodded. 500 ships. 3 years of work. Every resource humanity could spare. It is still not enough to fight the whole Dominion, James said. They have thousands of ships. We do not need to fight all of them, David replied. We just need to hurt them. Hit them where they do not expect it. Make them afraid. James smiled slightly. Make them feel what we felt. Exactly. On Earth, Agent Rachel Stone was doing dangerous work. She led a team of spies and soldiers who hunted down Dominion scouts. Every few months, the enemy sent small ships to check on Earth. They wanted to make sure the humans were really dead. Rachel and her team made sure those scouts never reported back. They had captured 3 scout ships over the years. Each one gave them more information. Maps of Dominion space, names of planets and military bases, secrets about how the enemy thought and acted. Rachel was reading the latest intelligence report when General Wright called her. What do you have? The general asked. They think we are extinct, Rachel said. Their last report to the Emperor said Earth is dead. No signals, no movement, no life. General Wright laughed. It was a cold, bitter sound. Good. Let them believe that. The longer they think we are gone, the harder we can hit them when we appear. There is more, Rachel continued. The Dominion is not united. The Emperor rules through fear. There are other species under his control. Slaves, basically. They might be willing to help us if we show them the Dominion can be hurt. The general thought about this. One problem at a time. First, we need to show everyone, including ourselves, that these monsters can bleed. 6 months later, everything was ready. The Black Fleet was armed with Dr. Parker's new weapons. Every pilot had trained for thousands of hours. Every soldier knew their mission. Admiral Cole gathered his senior officers in the war room of the Remembrance. Dr. Parker was there. Commander Howard was there. Captain Sarah Mitchell, the best pilot in the fleet, was there. A dozen other officers filled the room. 3 years ago, they attacked our home, David began. They killed 2 billion of us. They thought they had won. They went back to their empire and forgot about us. He activated a holographic map. It showed Dominion space, hundreds of star systems connected by lines. We are going to remind them. We are going to hit their outer territories first. Military bases, supply lines, scout stations. We are going to move fast and hit hard. By the time they realize what is happening, we will be gone. Captain Mitchell raised her hand. What are the rules of engagement? David looked at her. Sarah had lost her whole squadron defending Washington during the attack. She had barely survived. She had every reason to want blood. Military targets only, David said. We are not them. We do not kill civilians who cannot fight back. But any soldier, any ship, any base that serves the Dominion is a target. No mercy, no prisoners, no warnings. Dr. Parker spoke up. Her voice was quiet but hard as steel. They destroyed our cities in hours. It would be fair to do the same to them. It would be fair, David agreed. But we are not doing this to be fair. We are doing this to survive. If we become monsters, we lose ourselves. And I will not give them that victory. The room was silent for a moment. Then Commander Howard nodded. The Admiral is right. We fight smart. We fight hard. But we do not lose what makes us human. David looked around the room. He saw anger in every face. He saw grief. He saw determination. These were the survivors. The ones who had lost everything and refused to die. In 2 days we jumped to Dominion space. Most of us will not come back. But every one of us who falls will take 100 of them with us. And those who survive will keep fighting until the job is done. He raised his fist. For Earth, for everyone we lost. For the future, we are going to build on their graves. Every officer in the room raised their fist. For Earth. The fleet began to move. 500 ships powered up their engines and prepared to jump. They had hidden in the darkness for 3 years. Now they were going to bring that darkness to their enemies. The Dominion thought humanity was dead. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The Dominion outpost floated in the darkness of space. It was a simple military station, home to 200 soldiers and a dozen small patrol ships. The soldiers were bored. Nothing ever happened here. They were far from any threat, guarding empty space at the edge of the Empire. Lieutenant Commander Vrack was on duty when the alarms started screaming. He looked at his scanner and his blood turned cold. One moment, space was empty. The next moment, 20 human warships appeared out of nowhere. Impossible, he whispered. The humans are dead. The humans were not dead. Captain Sarah Mitchell sat in her fighter, leading a squadron of 50 small attack ships. She had waited 3 years for this moment. 3 years of training. 3 years of hate. All units weapons free, she said calmly. Leave nothing standing. The battle lasted 11 minutes. The Dominion soldiers barely had time to reach their ships before the first missiles hit. Human weapons tore through their shields like they were made of paper. Dr. Parker's technology worked perfectly. The enemy had no defense. Sarah flew through the chaos like a ghost. She had always been a good pilot. Now she was something more. She was death itself. Her ship twisted and turned through enemy fire. Every shot she fired hit its target. When it was over, the outpost was a field of burning debris. Every Dominion ship was destroyed. Every soldier was dead. Outpost 7 is down, Sarah reported. Her voice was flat and empty. No survivors. On the bridge of the Remembrance, Admiral Cole nodded. Good work. Move to the next target. This was just the beginning. Over the next 6 months, humanity struck again and again. Military bases burned. Supply convoys disappeared. Patrol ships stopped reporting back. The Dominion did not understand what was happening. Their outer territories were bleeding, and they could not stop it. Emperor Varath sat on his throne and listened to the reports. His generals stood before him, their heads bowed in shame. How is this possible? The Emperor demanded. I ordered their planet destroyed. I watched the recordings myself. They should all be dead. They survived, Your Highness, a general said. We do not know how many, but they have ships. Hundreds of them. And their weapons can penetrate our shields. The Emperor stood up. His ancient body was tall and thin, with gray skin and coal-black eyes. He had never known fear in his long life. But something cold was growing in his chest now. "Find them," he commanded. "Send the Imperial Armada. Every ship we have. Find these humans and crush them once and for all." The Dominion war machine began to move. 10,000 warships gathered from across the Empire. It was the largest fleet in their history. They would find the humans and destroy them. There would be no mistakes this time. But humanity was not waiting to be found. The planet was called Craft Prime. It was a Dominion colony world, home to 3 million alien citizens. More importantly, it was the staging ground where the attack on Earth had been planned. The ships that burned Chicago and Tokyo and London had launched from this world. Admiral Cole stood on the bridge of the Remembrance and looked at the planet. Below, it was a beautiful world. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. It reminded him of Earth, of the Earth that used to be. "Admiral," Commander Howard said, "we have completed our scans. The planet has minimal defenses. Their fleet is still gathering at the core worlds." Cole nodded slowly. "What about civilians?" 3 million, sir. Mostly workers and families." Cole closed his eyes. He remembered watching Earth burn. He remembered the screams on the radio as city after city died. 2 billion human lives, gone in hours. Men, women, children. His mother, his brother, his nephews. The Dominion had not cared about human civilians. They had not offered any warning. They had not allowed any evacuation. They had simply killed everyone they could. Cole opened his eyes. "Open a channel to the planet." The communication officer looked surprised. "Sir, open a channel. I want them to hear me." The channel crackled to life. 3 million Dominion citizens suddenly heard a human voice. "This is Admiral David Cole of the Terran Coalition. Your empire attacked our planet without warning. You killed 2 billion of our people. You thought you could destroy us and face no consequences." Cole paused. His hands gripped the railing. "You were wrong. We are here to collect what is owed." This planet served as the base for the attack on Earth. Every ship that burned our cities launched from your soil. He took a deep breath. "I am giving you 1 hour. 1 hour to evacuate. Take your families and leave. After 1 hour, this world dies." The channel went silent. On the planet below, chaos erupted. 3 million beings tried to flee at once. Ships launched from every port. Ground vehicles clogged the roads. Some made it to orbit. Most did not. Dr. Parker stood beside Admiral Cole. She watched the fleeing ships with empty eyes. "They did not give us any warning," she said. "Why should we give them any?" "Because we are not them," Cole replied. "We can be better than them. Even now, can we?" Parker asked. "Look at what we are about to do. We are about to destroy a world." Cole looked at her. "Yes, and I will carry that weight for the rest of my life. But they started this. They need to understand what that means. They need to know that attacking humanity has a price." The hour ended. Many civilians had escaped. Many had not. Admiral Cole gave the order. Humanity had built new weapons in the past 3 years. Planet crackers, they were called. Massive missiles that could shatter a world into pieces. The first missile hit Craft Prime, then the second, then the third. The planet cracked like an egg. Massive chunks of rock and fire flew into space. The oceans boiled away. The atmosphere burned off. In minutes, a living world became a dead ball of rubble. Cole watched in silence. Beside him, Dr. Parker watched too. There were no tears in her eyes. There was no satisfaction either. There was only emptiness. "Send a message to the Dominion," Cole said. "Tell them this is what they did to Chicago, to Tokyo, to London. Tell them to remember. Tell them we are coming for more." The message spread across the galaxy. Dominion citizens watched in horror as images of Krath Prime's destruction filled their screens. For 10,000 years, they had believed their empire was untouchable. Now they knew the truth. Humanity was coming. And humanity showed no mercy. Captain Sarah Mitchell returned to the fleet after destroying another convoy. She had lost count of how many battles she had fought, how many enemies she had killed. She did not feel like a hero. She did not feel like a monster either. She just felt tired. "Good work, Ghost," her wing commander said. They called her that now, the Ghost, because she appeared without warning and left nothing but death behind. Sarah did not respond. She parked her fighter and walked to her quarters. She sat on her bunk and stared at the wall. Somewhere out there, the Dominion fleet was gathering. 10,000 ships, the largest armada in galactic history. They were coming to destroy humanity once and for all. Sarah did not care. Let them come. She would fight until she could not fight anymore. And then she would die like her friends had died over Washington 3 years ago. But until then, she would make them pay for every life they had taken. The war had only begun, and humanity was just getting started. 2 years had passed since the war began. The galaxy was bleeding. Admiral Cole stood on the bridge of the Remembrance and stared at the map. It showed the entire Dominion Empire, hundreds of star systems connected by trade routes and military paths. 2 years ago, most of that map had been painted in the enemy's colors. Now, large sections were gray, destroyed, burned, taken. But the cost had been terrible. Humanity had started with 500 ships. Now they had 230. Every battle took more lives. Every victory came with a price. The fleet was running low on everything: fuel, ammunition, people. "Admiral," Commander Howard said quietly, "we have a problem." Cole turned to look at him. "Another one?" "The Dominion fleet is gathering near the Crimson Nebula. Our scouts count 5,000 ships. They are planning something big." Cole rubbed his tired eyes. He had not slept properly in months. The weight of command pressed down on him like a mountain. "How long until they are ready to move?" 3 weeks, maybe 4. Cole nodded slowly. "Then we hit them first, before they can come for us." Howard hesitated. "Sir, we have 200 ships. They have 5,000. "I know the numbers, Commander." Cole's voice was hard. "But if we let them organize, if we let them come for us on their terms, we are dead anyway. Our only chance is to hit them while they are still gathering." He turned back to the map. "Contact Agent Stone. Tell her we need allies. Now." Agent Rachel Stone had been busy for 2 years. While the fleet fought in space, she had been fighting a different kind of war. A war of secrets and whispers. The Dominion was not one species. Emperor Vorath ruled over dozens of different races. Most of them were slaves. They had been conquered centuries ago and forced to serve the Empire. Rachel had been reaching out to them. Quietly, carefully, she found rebels and freedom fighters hiding in the shadows. She offered them something they had not had in generations: hope. "The humans have hurt the Dominion badly," she told them. "They have destroyed military bases and colony worlds. They have shown that the Empire can bleed." The aliens listened. They were afraid. They had lived under Dominion rule for so long that they had forgotten how to fight back. "If you help us," Rachel continued, "we will help you. When the Empire falls, your people will be free." Slowly, carefully, alliances formed. The Vraks were an insect-like species, billions of workers forced to build Dominion ships. They agreed to sabotage factories and steal weapons. The Thalani were aquatic beings, used as laborers in underwater mines. They agreed to block supply routes. The Korvath were silicon-based creatures, ancient and wise. They agreed to share their knowledge of Dominion secrets. For the first time, humanity was not fighting alone. The Battle of the Crimson Nebula was the largest space battle in galactic history. Admiral Cole brought every ship humanity had. 230 vessels. It was not enough. It should not have been enough. But Commander Howard had a plan. The Crimson Nebula was a massive cloud of gas and dust, glowing red in the light of distant stars. It was hard to see through, hard to navigate. Most commanders would avoid fighting there. Howard wanted to fight there. We used the nebula as cover, he explained to the War Council. Their sensors cannot track us through the gas clouds. We hit them in small groups. Fast strikes, then disappear. We make them chase shadows while we tear their fleet apart piece by piece. Dr. Parker nodded. Their shields are weakest at the rear. If we can get behind their formations. Exactly, Howard said. We do not need to destroy all 5,000 ships. We just need to destroy their command vessels. Cut off the head, and the body dies. The battle began at dawn, ship time. The Dominion fleet was massive, a wall of metal and fire stretching across space. They expected the humans to run. They expected fear. They got death instead. Captain Sarah Mitchell led the first strike. Her squadron of 50 fighters dove into the nebula and disappeared. Minutes later, they emerged behind the Dominion fleet. Before the enemy could react, 6 command ships were burning. Chaos erupted. The Dominion ships tried to turn, tried to find the attackers. But the humans were already gone, swallowed by the red clouds. For 12 hours, the battle raged. Human ships appeared and vanished like ghosts. Dominion vessels exploded one after another. The enemy fleet tried to stay organized, but panic was spreading. Admiral Cole commanded from the Remembrance. He watched the holographic display as green dots representing human ships danced around the much larger force of red dots. Commander Howard, he said, you are a genius. Howard smiled grimly. Thank me after we survive. The Dominion's fleet admiral was on a massive flagship called the Eternal Dominion. It was the biggest ship in their fleet, armed with weapons that could crack moons. But it was also slow, and it was right where Howard wanted it. All ships, Cole ordered, concentrate fire on the flagship. Everything we have. 100 human ships emerged from the nebula at once. They fired every missile, every cannon, every weapon they had. The Eternal Dominion tried to raise its shields. It was too late. The flagship exploded in a ball of fire. The Dominion fleet admiral died instantly. Without their leader, the enemy fleet panicked. Ships began to retreat. Some ran into each other. Some flew into the nebula and got lost. The organization that had made them powerful was gone. When the battle ended, 3,000 Dominion ships had been destroyed. Humanity had lost 100. It was a victory beyond anything Cole had hoped for, but he did not celebrate. He stood on the bridge and looked at the debris floating in space. Each piece represented lives. Enemies, yes, but also humans. Friends he had lost. How many? He asked quietly. 40,000 human casualties, Howard reported. Our best estimates. 40,000. That was more than the entire population of some cities back on Earth. Cole closed his eyes and said a silent prayer for the dead. We keep moving, he said finally. We cannot stop now. Dr. Parker was no longer content to build weapons from a laboratory. She had joined a special operations team, the most dangerous humans in the fleet. They went on missions that no one else could survive. Their target was a Dominion space station where the enemy's war council met. The generals who planned the attack on Earth gathered there to make their strategies. Parker wanted them dead. The team infiltrated the station through a waste disposal duct. They fought their way through guards and security systems. They killed without hesitation or mercy. Parker found the general she was looking for. His name was Lord Vrex. He had given the order to bomb Chicago. Her city, her family. She cornered him in a command room. He was old and frail, no longer the powerful warrior he had once been. He looked at her with fear in his eyes. "Please," he begged. "I was following orders. The Emperor commanded us to destroy Earth." "I know," Parker said. Her voice was cold as ice. "But you are the one who picked the targets. You are the one who chose which cities to burn." She raised her weapon. "My daughter was 6 years old. She was playing with her toys when your bombs fell. She never even knew what hit her." Lord Vrex opened his mouth to beg again. Parker did not give him the chance. The team escaped before reinforcements arrived. The Dominion War Council was destroyed. Another victory. Another step closer to the end. The human fleet emerged from hyperspace above the Dominion homeworld. Throne Prime, the heart of the Empire. The place where Emperor Vorath had ruled for 3,000 years. Admiral Cole looked at the planet below. It was massive, covered in cities that glittered like jewels. Billions of beings lived there. The most powerful military force in the galaxy defended it. But humanity had come anyway. "This is it," Cole said. "The final battle. Everything we have fought for comes down to this." Captain Mitchell's voice crackled over the radio. "We are ready, Admiral. Give the word." Cole took a deep breath. He thought about Earth, about his family, about everyone who had died so that humanity could reach this moment. "All ships," he commanded. "Attack." The final battle for the galaxy had begun. The sky above Throne Prime burned with 1,000 battles. Human ships clashed with Dominion defenders in the largest fight the galaxy had ever seen. Missiles flew in all directions. Explosions lit up the darkness of space. Ships on both sides died by the dozens, then by the hundreds. Admiral Cole stood on the bridge of the Remembrance and watched the chaos. His fleet was smaller, but his people fought with a fury the Dominion had never seen. Every human pilot, every gunner, every soldier knew this was the end. Win or die. There was no third choice. "Admiral," Commander Howard shouted, "the enemy flagship is moving into position. It's the Emperor's personal ship." Cole looked at the tactical display. A massive vessel, larger than any other, was rising from the planet's surface. It was covered in golden armor and bristling with weapons. "That ship has a weapon," Howard continued. "Our intelligence says it can destroy entire star systems. If the Emperor activates it, he could wipe out the sun back home," Cole finished. "Kill everyone on Earth and the colonies." "Yes, sir." Cole felt cold fear grip his heart. They had come so far. They had sacrificed so much. And now everything hung on the next few hours. "We need to get to that ship before he can use the weapon." On the surface of Throne Prime, human Marines were landing for the first time. Their dropships cut through the atmosphere, dodging anti-aircraft fire. Many were shot down. Many more made it through. The soldiers hit the ground running. They had trained for years for this moment. They knew every street of the capital city from maps and stolen intelligence. They knew where the enemy would try to stop them. The Dominion citizens had never seen humans before. They had heard stories, of course. Monsters from a dead world. Demons who had risen from the ashes to bring destruction. They expected creatures of nightmare. What they saw were tired, dirty soldiers with sad eyes and determined faces. Men and women who walked past civilians without raising their weapons. Soldiers who only fought back when attacked. "We are not here for you," a human sergeant told a group of frightened aliens. "We are here for your Emperor. Stay inside. Stay safe." This will be over soon. The aliens watched in confusion as the humans moved past them toward the Imperial Palace. Captain Sarah Mitchell was in her fighter, leading the assault on the Emperor's flagship. She had survived more battles than she could count. She had earned the name Ghost 1,000 times over. Now she was facing the biggest challenge of her life. All fighters, focus on the shield generators, she ordered. We need to create an opening for the boarding team. Her squadron dove toward the massive golden ship. Enemy fighters rose to meet them. The space around the flagship became a swirling storm of death. Sarah twisted her ship through the chaos. She fired at anything that moved. Her reflexes, honed by years of combat, kept her alive when others died around her. Generator 1 down. Someone shouted over the radio. Generator 2 is hit. I'm taking fire. I'm taking... The voice cut off in static. Sarah gritted her teeth and kept flying. She could not afford to mourn. Not yet. Admiral Cole led the boarding team himself. Some of his officers had argued against it. The Admiral should stay on the ship, they said. He was too important to risk. Cole refused. He had started this journey from the observation deck of the moon base, watching Earth burn. He would finish it with his own hands. The team cut through the hull of the Emperor's flagship and fought their way inside. Dominion guards tried to stop them. They failed. Human soldiers moved through the golden corridors like a flood, unstoppable and relentless. Dr. Parker was with them. She carried a rifle and a medical kit. She was not a soldier, but she had learned to fight. She had learned to kill. And she needed to see this end. The throne room is ahead, Commander Howard reported. He was reading a stolen map on his tablet. The Emperor will be there. Then that is where we go, Cole said. They kicked down the great golden doors. The throne room was vast, filled with pillars of crystal and floors of polished stone. At the far end, sitting on a throne of carved bone, was Emperor Varath. He was ancient. His gray skin hung loose on his thin frame. His black eyes were cold and empty, but there was still power in him. The power of 3,000 years of rule. Humans, he said. His voice echoed through the room. I should have made sure you were all dead. Cole walked toward him. His weapon was raised, but he did not fire. Not yet. Why did you do it? Cole asked. Why attack us? We never threatened you. We did not even know you existed. The Emperor laughed. It was a cold, hollow sound. You were growing. Your species was young but ambitious. In a few hundred years, you might have become a threat. I have ruled this galaxy for 3,000 years. I did not become Emperor by waiting for threats to grow. 2 billion people, Cole said. Children. Families, people who just wanted to live their lives. You killed them all because of what we might become. I would do it again, Varath replied. 1,000 times. That is what power means. The strong survive. The weak die. Your species should have accepted death quietly. Instead, you came here. You burned my colonies. You killed my generals. You turned my own slaves against me. He leaned forward on his throne. But it does not matter. My weapon is ready. One command and your son dies. Your Earth burns again, this time forever. Every human in the galaxy becomes dust. Cole felt his blood run cold. You would destroy yourself too. Your own ship, your own planet, just to kill us? If that is what it takes to win, yes. The Emperor's eyes were mad with hatred. I have lived long enough. But I will not die knowing that vermin like you walk free in my galaxy. His hand moved toward a control panel on his throne. He never reached it. Dr. Parker fired first. Her shot hit the Emperor's arm, shattering bone. He screamed and fell back. Cole rushed forward and grabbed him before he could touch the controls. The Emperor struggled, but he was old and weak. 3,000 years of letting others fight for him had made him soft. "You cannot kill me," he hissed. "I am eternal. I am the Dominion." "No," Cole said quietly. "You are just an old man who made a terrible mistake." He looked at Parker. Her face was blank, empty. She had waited 5 years for this moment. She had dreamed of it every night. The death of the creature who destroyed her world, her city, her family. "Do it," Cole said. Parker raised her weapon. The Emperor looked at her with contempt. "Another monkey with a gun. Your species amounts to nothing. You will destroy yourselves within a century." Parker's finger tightened on the trigger. "Maybe, but you will not be here to see it." She fired. The Emperor died sitting on his throne, surrounded by the golden treasures of his dead empire. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Emperor Varth was dead. The Dominion flagship had been captured. The war was over. On Throne Prime, the fighting stopped. Dominion soldiers threw down their weapons and surrendered. They had no reason to fight anymore. The Emperor they had served for generations was gone. Across hundreds of star systems, enslaved species rose up. The Vrex stopped building weapons and started tearing down statues of Varth. The Thalani surfaced from their underwater prisons and breathed free air for the first time in centuries. The Korvath emerged from their caves and looked up at skies no longer ruled by tyrants. Humanity had not just won a war. They had freed a galaxy. Admiral Cole stood on the steps of the Imperial Palace and looked up at the sky. Human ships hung in orbit, their weapons silent at last. Nearby, his soldiers were helping Dominion civilians who had been hurt in the fighting. Commander Howard walked up beside him. "Sir, we have reports coming in from all sectors. The Dominion military is surrendering everywhere. The war is over." Cole nodded slowly. He should feel happy. He should feel victorious. Instead, he just felt tired. "How many did we lose?" he asked. "Total casualties over 5 years?" "About 200,000. Human casualties, I mean. We saved billions of lives when the Empire fell, but 200,000 of our people are never going home. No, sir." Cole closed his eyes. He thought about all the friends he had lost, all the soldiers who had died so that humanity could survive. "We need to remember them," he said. "Every single one. We need to build monuments and write their names in stone. They saved our species. They saved the galaxy. They deserve to be remembered forever." 10 years passed. Earth was rebuilt. New cities rose from the ashes of the old ones. Chicago stood again, taller and more beautiful than before. In its center was a great memorial park, filled with the names of everyone who died in the attack and the war that followed. Emily Parker walked through the park. Her hair was white now. Her face was lined with age. But her eyes were no longer empty. There was peace in them. She stopped at a small stone marker. It had 3 names on it. Her husband, her daughter, and her own name, the woman she used to be before the sky burned. "I finished it," she said quietly. "The war is over. The Empire is gone. Humanity is safe." A gentle breeze stirred the flowers around the stone. "I know it does not bring you back. Nothing can bring you back. But I hope wherever you are, you can rest now. I hope you know that I never forgot you." Far away, Admiral David Cole tended a garden behind a small house. He had refused every title, every medal, every position of power. He did not want to rule. He just wanted to rest. His garden was simple. Tomatoes and peppers and beans. Things that grew and lived and reminded him that the universe was not all death and destruction.